Thank you. 8:15 the time on BBC Radio Manchester. Morning from Phil and Alison. Now, the leader of Bolton Council, Cliff Morris, says he won't resign over a controversial deal which saw a law firm being granted £300,000 by the authority to keep its premises in the town centre.
Last night, protesters gathered outside the town hall and our political reporter, Kevin Fitzpatrick, met them.
I believe that the money could have been used in far better ways than this. So many cutbacks in all respects over different departments, and nobody knew about it, nobody was asked.
I can't understand why he's given this £300,000 to Ayson solicitors when they're closing places down like health authorities, children's care. Why would they give £300,000 to anybody?
We're asking for Councillor Morris to stand down as leader of Bolton Council, because over the past years, things that he's done for the council have not been transparent to the Bolton people and the residents. Icing on the cake was the Ayson's solicitors £300,000 grant that was given, and there's other companies in Bolton that's more needier than that firm.
This protest was organised by two members of the public, but Councillor Morris is also facing a challenge from his political opponents. The leader of the opposition on Bolton Council, Conservative David Greenhalgh, says he has questions to answer.
I immediately just thought, what? This is just wrong. At this time, with pressure under all our services, coupled with that, the fact that it was done under emergency powers as well, the whole system, so there was no recourse of action, there was no challenge to it, there was no calling it in at any level. The decision was done by one man, and that has to be wrong.
Well, that one man joins us now for the first interview that he's agreed to give since this news emerged. Councillor Cliff Morris, leader of Bolton Council, thank you for coming on to speak to us at Radio Manchester. Can you hear
morning.
me? Okay, you can hear me. Okay, and just here, obviously, you know, your political opposition leaders, you can understand wanting to get their points across. But outside there of the meeting last night, we heard many people that included Unison members, traditional Labour supporters, who you have really angered.
Hello. Well, it's like anything else. When you make decisions, there are hard decisions. It probably was a hard decision, but this wasn't given to the solicitors. I think people are thinking that we've given it to a firm of solicitors. This was about refurbishing an office block within the town centre to regenerate that office block.
But you've given the solicitors occupy that office block.
But just a minute, there's more than the solicitors occupy that block. They don't occupy it all, but they've refurbished a town centre, and the rates we will get within 5 years, it will come back. The money will be refurbished.
They would be destined to pay rates anyway, but instead of repaying the debt, they would have gone into council coffers, Councillor.
No. At the end of the day, they were being courted by people like Bury, like Manchester, wanting them to develop an office block within their townships. And at the end of the day, we have to make a decision. And this about nobody knew about it. This policy, and David Greenhalgh was at the meeting, was set up 2 or 3 years ago, where money was put at one side. It was set up in 2013 to look at the town centre strategy. We have a strategy, and the idea, we put 1.45 million at one side for developing offices within Bolton Town Centre.
All right.
So this nonsense about it was done secretly, it is not true.
Well, let's go on to that in just a second, because there's an awful lot to say about executive powers. But when you then say that the 300,000 wasn't given to Aysons, but then you quote them as being the very reason why you have donated the money by saying that firm in particular being courted by other councils. So obviously we're after them staying in town, and that's why the £300,000 has been given.
It was about an office development. Of course we wanted them to stay in town. They employ nearly 200 people.
But if you were given the money to refurbish the building, Councillor, the meeting heard last night that Aysons building was only refurbished in the summer, and you went to the reopening. So what is the money actually for?
Well, the money was for that we told them this negotiation has been going on since January, and you know and I know that you just can't give money away. You have to have checks and balances. We have to cover European legislation.
Who owns that building then that you've given the 300,000 to?
It's owned by Athens, I would imagine.
Well, you have given... Which mean you imagine? You don't know?
It is owned by Athens, that's what I've said.
But, well, actually, 2 minutes ago, you said you hadn't given it to Athens, you'd been giving it to the property.
Well, that's it, it's for that property. They own the property, they're
So
refurbishing the...
Councillor Morris, can you understand people's anger there? That you said it wasn't, and now you're agreeing that they do own the building.
I know, and that building has been refurbished. They've spent the money on refurbishing it.
You went to the reopening of the refurbished building a few months ago.
I understand that. This has been going on since...
But people don't understand why the £300,000 has been given to Athens.
But at the end of the day, the negotiations were started in January. Okay?
But
it was started... Listen, no, you've had yours, say, let me have mine, please. It was started in January. Then the deal was agreed that we would look at this. Then we have to go to through European legislation. We have to do all the checks and balances. We said if you do anything with that building, it will be done at your own risk.
Would it have not been perhaps a bit more sensible to do it in open, because you've used executive powers to do this in secret, whether those powers be there or not? Why not be completely transparent in all this?
I was completely transparent. We have $1.5 million.
But no one knew about it, Councillor Morris.
There's no one. The council knew about it. It went through council minutes.
The opposition leader said that no one knew about it. I mean, you lead a democracy, not an autocracy, don't you?
And I do believe in democracy. The leader of the opposition, I was given a letter that said he had seen this letter. Now, I either say the officer's a liar or somebody's a liar, but I can only do it. And he was sat in the meeting with me. It had his name at the bottom. Now, I don't know whether that letter got to him, but I can only go off what's put in front of me. Now, whether that's whatever you want to say, I can only go off that, can't I? So this was done in all good faith that he knew about it. Then we have...
So you accept that some people may not know about it, because the opposition leader's saying that they didn't. The people there in the meeting, you've just heard them, they didn't. There was so much anger there last night, Councillor Morris.
Okay, that's okay. I say they did. Now, that's a matter of opinion now. I can't do anything more about that than say they did. At the meeting in 2013, he was in the meeting, went through the minutes of the council, so he knew about it, all the opposition knew about it, because they were sat there. So those minutes went through council. Now, they don't read those minutes. I can't force them to read those
With all this confusion then, Councillor Morris, is there one suggestion that this should be then independently investigated so we can get both sides?
That's what's happening. I called it the auditors, independent auditors, and at the moment they're going through it. Okay, they're going through the process. And if they come up with any recommendations, then I will implement them.
In the meantime, what would you say to those who are calling for your resignation to stand aside?
I have done nothing wrong. It's been proved I've done nothing wrong. What I've done is lawful. I've used policies that the council did in 2013, and so you only resign when you've done nothing wrong. And I've done nothing wrong. I've used that policy. We've been through European legislation. Our solicitors were all over it before I signed it off.
All right, well, there's still a lot of people contacting us saying that they're angry about it, that you've given private companies money to keep them in Bolton. There's an awful lot of other businesses that could have benefited from it, and rates could be paid, business rates are paid anyway, so why go into repaying a debt of $300,000 the council's already given?
The business rates would have not been in Bolton. Now, we can either refurbish the town centre, we can regenerate the town centre. There are 200 people now in Bolton Town Centre. They're spending the money in Bolton Town Centre, and they're helping to regenerate the town centre. And the money, we have to look at how we get this money and where it comes from.
It couldn't have gone to Beales? It couldn't have gone to Preston's of Bolton?
Well, just a minute. Beales have had it. We've helped Beales. So we've been helping Beales for the last 5 years.
They did actually thank you as they closed, Councillor Morris. I know that. They did thank the help that Bolton Council had given you, but...
We have, the last 5 years.
Councillor Morris, we're going to continue this conversation with Mike Sweeney after 9 o'clock, but can I just thank you for coming on to BBC Radio Manchester? I appreciate it's the first time that you've spoken publicly as an interview about this, and it's certainly not an issue that's going to go away anytime too soon.
I understand that I've spoken in the Bolton News, but at the end of the day, I've done nothing wrong. It was a legitimate grant. We have helped other businesses, which most people know. We've helped small businesses to try and regenerate our town centre, and I think that's part of the role I have to do.
All right. Councillor Cliff Morris, we'll have to leave it there for now. I appreciate you coming on to talk to us live on The Breakfast Show. Thank you.